Plaintiff Robert Orzechowski says 2 years after he started dating the defendant, she asked if she could be a stripper, and he reluctantly agreed. Robert claims the defendant ended up marrying a man she met at a strip club, and then she got in trouble for prostituting. He's suing his ex for a hotel bill. Defendant Tracy Compton admits that she worked as a stripper, but insists the man she married wasn't a stranger. He was one of her regulars, whom she'd known for 4 months. Tracy's countersuing for rent and property damage.
Start with you.
Back in 2004, I met Tracy. Okay, we dated, went out together, got to know each other really good. And in 2006, we moved to Fort Wayne. And then one day she asked if she could be a stripper. And I said, Tracy, you want to be a stripper? I said, why would you be a stripper? And she said, well, I did it before. And so I said, well, if that's the case and you want to make some more money, then do it. But I wasn't too happy with it.
Did she?
And she was a dancer.
How long?
She was a dancer for a few years, at least.
And that was 7 years ago. How old were you 7 years ago?
Right now I'm 40, so...
33?
Yes.
Did pretty well?
Yeah.
Okay. When does it end for most strippers? What age do most strippers, the average stripper, quit or have to quit, if you know what I mean?
I really don't know. I mean, there are some older than me and some younger than me.
Do you have many over 30 that you know that strip, or over 35?
Yeah.
Really? Mm-hmm. All right. Well, if you go into a strip club, what percentage might be over 35, say out of 10?
Probably about 4.
Really? Wow, nearly half of the strippers, in your experience, have been over 35.
Right.
Okay.
They call that the senior tour.
I certainly didn't know that they can continue up through that age. You're almost getting Social Security when you quit. All right. What do you want to tell me? Did he ask you not to, or give me whatever background you'd like for me to have?
No, that's not true. He asked me if I would because I didn't want to.
Well, he asked you to.
But I did it out of spite because I didn't think that I could get hired because I was a little bit overweight.
If you go into a strip club, what percentage might be over 35, say out of 10?
Probably about 4.
Really? Wow, nearly half of the strippers, in your experience, have been over 35.
Right.
They call that the senior tour.
Defendant Tracy Compton is being sued by her ex-fiancée, who claims after Tracy started stripping, she became a prostitute.
Sir?
After she was a stripper, we were engaged to get married, okay? And she actually went out to Nebraska, and I wanted to check out the stripper club. So I went to the stripper club and picked up on a 22-year-old girl, okay? She was a really nice-looking girl, and I took her home.
Did you have to pay her?
And I paid her.
How much?
$150. So anyway,
Did she ever find? Oh, 2 weeks.
Yeah, a couple weeks down the line, she found out that
How?
she was really mad. I have no idea. I'm sure somebody.
Well, if you picked her up at her club, then that's how.
Yeah, exactly.
She was really mad, and then what?
Well, then we broke up, and she went back and cheated on me to make up for the difference. So she met this guy at the stripper club and married him and had children with. 1 child, I
Can I say something? Mm-hmm. The guy that I met at the bar, he was my regular, and I knew him for at least 4 months. The woman that he paid to sleep with him, he knew for maybe 2 hours.
Good enough. 4 months, 2 hours. All right. Anything else before we get to the hotel bill?
Well, eventually they got married, and then I find out later in the relationship, I'm coming back to Fort Wayne, that she got in trouble for being a prostitute.
While married?
While married, after she had her children.
Anything you want to say to that?
No, I just got back from being on welfare. I just got a diploma for a workshop in resume workshop. I was on unemployment and welfare, and I also volunteered at a church in a big warehouse, donating clothes to families in need. I was not prostituting myself.
Okay.
He had called CPS on me and said that I was prostituting with my son, and I was not doing that. I
How
was on
long after
welfare.
you all had stopped dating did he do that?
He did that after I had the order of protection against him.
Okay, let's talk about the things that are
But
relevant
anyway,
to
I
the
got
lawsuit.
proof showing that she was a prostitute.
All right, let's see it, and then let's get to the things that you're suing her about, sir. Woman sounds like she's changed her life, so we'll leave this alone. Go ahead, tell me about this lawsuit, sir.
Okay, well, I hadn't really heard from her at all, and I'm going to move to Fort Wayne, Indiana, and she said she was no longer with her husband, that they were getting a divorce. Well, I was going to get a hotel, and she asked me if I could move in with her, and I would pay some of the rent. So I moved in with her for like 8 days, okay? And some people randomly called her up from Craigslist and wanted to move in. So since she was still married but going through a divorce and everything, I said, I'll just go back to the hotel. So every weekend she'd call me up after she drank. She likes to smoke weed, she drinks,
That's not true.
So anyway, she calls me up drunk and just wants to really have sex with me on the weekend. So I spent the night there every weekend for like 3 months straight, okay, while the roommates were there, okay. Afterwards, 3 months into the thing, she comes to my hotel and pleads with me and asks me, can you please take me and see my dying brother? My brother's dying of leukemia, and so I drove her to Yuma, Arizona, okay? We came back, and our agreement was I was supposed to stay at her house for 3 months for free. For travel. I was wearing
In exchange for you taking her to see her brother, she said you can stay at my home 3 months for free.
Yes, sir.
All right. And how do we get this hotel bill then?
Okay, so me and her roommates did not get along at all. So eventually, I get this false allegation and get a protective order put on me, okay? And I'm kicked out. I had nowhere to go. So I went back to this hotel, had to try to figure out how to pay it and everything.
You're suing her because you believe it was a false charge against you?
Yeah, it was a false charge.
And so you want the hotel expenses that you incurred?
Yeah, that was
All
the
right,
first
let's
part.
see your expenses. You said that was the what, sir?
Well, I got the protective order being dropped here.
Let's see it. Ma'am, let me hear from you.
Well, he's a cheater. He's a user, and he's a drunk. He would drink and stay up all night on my couch while he was taking methadone. And he would drop his methadone on my floor. My kid and my animals could have got a hold of it.
Sir, you on methadone? Or were you?
I'm on methadone for my back.
Good enough.
The guy that I met at the bar, he was my regular, and I knew him for at least 4 months. The woman that he paid to sleep with him, he knew for maybe 2 hours.
Good enough. 4 months, 2 hours. All right.
Defendant Tracy Compton is being sued by her ex-fiancée, who claims after Tracy started stripping, she became a prostitute.
Tell me about the hotel bill, ma'am.
The protection order, he was threatening to kill my cat, threatening to have my son taken away. After my brother had died, he made the comment to me a couple of times, asking me how, am I sure that somebody didn't come up to my brother's window and give my brother drugs? And that's what killed my brother.
Sorry to hear that, but what was the protection order intended to do?
Because he kept threatening my roommates, he kept threatening me, kept threatening to have
threaten you, okay,
Yes.
because otherwise your roommates would have to get the protection order.
Yes, he
and
was
the cat
threatening
would
me.
have to get his own protection order.
Yeah.
Go
yeah.
ahead.
He was threatening me.
All right, and then you went to get a protection order after
Yes.
that? Did
yes.
you call the police?
Yes,
during that?
I got police reports.
Sir, the police came to the house?
The police came, and I was really surprised, and she put false accusations
Did
on
they
me.
speak to you?
Barely. They just told me to get my stuff.
They didn't ask you if you did anything?
They didn't even ask, search me, didn't tell me
Did
I
they
did
ask
anything.
you whether you did anything?
No.
I spoke with Tracy, and she stated that Robert called her and left a message stating, I'm going to get the gun and put it in the trunk. I know some people that can take care of some people. Tracy stated that she was afraid to go home. So was there a hearing later on the protection order where both parties were present.
Yes.
And what happened there?
He denied it. He denied everything.
Okay, and why did they believe him? Because it was dismissed.
I have no idea.
Sir, what happened at the hearing?
I told them that I did not do anything. I did not threaten her. I said it was all false.
What did they say to her?
And they asked for evidence.
Of what? Evidence like what?
Of showing that I had a gun or something like that. They didn't. The police never even searched for a gun. Even said why I was being left. They didn't hear no messages.
You must
no
prove
tape.
today that she did it maliciously and intentionally, knowing that it was false. That's what you have to prove. So, why would she do it? Why would she go and file a protection order against you for no reason at all?
I didn't even know we were getting along. All of a sudden, it's like. Something
You
they
weren't
talked to
arguing.
roommates or something.
You weren't arguing that day when the police came.
We weren't arguing.
What were you doing when the police came?
I was sitting on the couch and she was across the street at a 72-year-old guy's house.
What were you all discussing when she left? Everything was fine and hunky-dory?
Well, pretty much. I mean, I asked her when she was coming back. I said I'd like to talk to her. And she said she wasn't feeling that good. And I said, well, why are you going over there? And she just said she was just.
She said you wanted to talk to her about what?
Well, I was wanting to talk to her about maybe eventually when the roommates moved out that I would see if I could stay a little bit
How
longer.
did that become a subject of conversation that day?
It basically all started when she showed me a picture of her roommates that were on the most wanted list, and we were like all best friends, and you know, I cared about her. I did everything for her.
Your counterclaim, ma'am, is for $1,450 for rent and property damage. How does he owe you for that?
We agreed that he'd pay me $50 a week for 8 weeks in exchange to driving to Arizona in his car.
How does he owe you for property damage?
He broke my phone. He broke it against the wall. I have him admitting it on Facebook.
Okay, let's see that. Does he admit owing rent?
He admits that he was not going to pay me rent if he had to stay on my couch. Well, I don't have that, but...
Did he have to stay on your couch?
He would stay up all night until he would go to sleep around 4 or 5
So
o'clock.
where could he have slept?
He went in my room to sleep when I went out.
Okay, so he had no bed of his own.
Defendant Tracy Compton is being sued by her ex-fiancée, who claims after Tracy started stripping, she became a prostitute.
Sir, you can't prove that she erroneously and maliciously called the police on you and that there was no threat. I do not buy the conversations that you claim. I believe her that the conversation got heated and you may have threatened her, but at the very least it was a heated enough conversation that she left and was afraid of you. And when you're afraid of a person, that's what you do. You go and get a protection order. With regard to the rent, ma'am, I'm not granting you that judgment. As you say, he told you, if I have to sleep on the couch all the time, I'm not giving you rent, and rightfully so. Now, your property damage, the phone. How much is the phone you're asking for, ma'am?
$50.
$50. That's your judgment. $50 for the counterclaimant, and that's it. Have a good day, folks.
I always cared about Tracy and did so much for her. I just don't understand. And I love her son. I love her. I've done everything for her son.
You can't threaten people with guns and threaten people with their children.
I never threatened you with a gun.
Yes, you did. You
Then
threatened
why
me
was it
with my
dismissed?
my child, and you threatened me with a gun, and I don't need that.
Then why was it dismissed in a hearing? Why didn't you have evidence? Because there was no gun.